Well, good afternoon, people of YouTubes. You join me here in the cockpit of the racing MGF, where we're going to start our preparations for Silverstone, which will be MG Live. We've got a couple of jobs to do. Our oil gauges, they were not reading correctly, so I've got some new gauges and sensors to put in there. So at the minute I'm just in the process of removing the switch panel and to gain access to the back there. We'll check all our connections, we'll stick the new gauges in, and we will put the new sensors in. The only other thing I need to do is I just want to take the sump bung out because it's a magnetic one and just check for any debris on there, and then stick that back in if all is good. And then it's just going to be a quick bolt check, make sure all the bolts are tight, and we'll do an alignment. So yeah, we'll do a little string alignment on it and talk you through that. And then the other thing I've got, obviously we got a GoPro mount on the cage there, and I've been having nothing but difficulties connecting to that with the remote. So I've been told by a couple of people to do a reset on the remote, and also I've got another GoPro 4 session that we're going to stick on the cage for a rear view as well. And I'm going to put a hardwire kit in for both of them GoPros, just so they're constantly got power, and they can constantly be on, basically. So hopefully that will just be a case of just turning the remote on. So yeah, that's the plan for the jobs for this. So again, I'm just going to carry on removing that center console, get them gauges out, and then we'll check all our connections in the back, and I'll report if we see anything untoward. Alright, so I thought I'd just show you the gauges that I've gone with. So I've gone with a well-known brand, Stack, for their reliability. I mean, these ones here, these old ones, they're video gauge, so yeah, not really too sure why they're failing. Or it could be down to wiring. You know, I've checked all the connections in the back. It's got live, it's got earths, so, and it only does it every now and again. So whether it's a sensor losing signal on earth or the gauge is losing a signal on earth, I'm not entirely 100% sure. But anyway, this is what we've gone with. We've got a 7-bar pressure gauge this time, so it gives you a lot more range in the gauge than what the 10-bar one do, because that should only be about 4.5 bar should be its maximum, because that's when the oil pressure relief valve kicks in. But when it gets hot, it obviously drops down, so it'll be 3.5 bar, be in the middle somewhere then, instead of like right down the gauge where that one is. The oil temperature gauge, I'm not 100%. I prefer the other one, to be honest with you, because we've got 120, 130, 140, 150 all in that top end range there, where this one here, you got all that range from 120 to 150, so there's a lot more. It makes it a little bit easier to read, because these do run at about 120 with an oil to air oil cooler. So yeah, that's going to be right up in the top there, and I'm going to struggle to say whether it's 120, 130, 140 or even 150. But anyway, we'll stick it in, we'll see how we get on with it. As I say, I've got my GoPro and stuff like that, so we can always review the footage, and I normally record in 4K but upload my videos in 1080 at the moment, just for ease and quickness more than anything. Maybe, I don't think my phone, I've been recording a lot on my phone recently, so I don't know if my phone is 4K or not. Hence the reason why I'm only doing it in 1080 at the minute. But I know the GoPro do it in 4K, and I record in 4K with the GoPro. And as you can see, I've got a medium mod now for the charging port. So let's get all this stacked into the housing, and then we will get on and do the sensors. Oh, the other thing about these stack gauges is that they come with the sensors. So it comes with a full kit, so all you need to do is just do the wiring basically. Right, let's get it stood in or put in, get the center console back in, and then we can get it on and fit in the sensors. Right, as you can see by this catastrophic mess that I've just made, trying to remove the sunk bung while not losing too much oil, and stick another sunk bung in just to blank it off for now. There isn't really no debris on, just a little bit of sludge maybe, but nothing too major. But the oil itself isn't looking too great. It looks a tad milky to me, so I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully it's not head gasket. It shouldn't be, it's a new head gasket. Everything was done correctly, if you know what I mean. The only reason why I took that off was to change the sensors in there, because that top pressure sensor is just a little bit difficult to get to with it on. So far I'd just whip it off, and yeah, wish I never had now and noticed all this. So I don't know whether to do an oil change now or not. Try and get rid of some of that old milky oil. So yeah, right, let's change the sensors in this anyway, because we need to do that, and then I'll ponder my thoughts. Maybe put it on one of the racing forums and see what they suggest. Right, so we've got sandwich plate back on now, sensors all in, can't quite see that one, but I've renewed all the ring terminals as well on that cable, new oil filter. So yeah, just going to let it all down, fill it with oil. I'm going to put fresh oil in, just as a precaution really. Hopefully that will make us through Silverstone, and then when we come back from Silverstone we'll have a proper good look at it and see what's going on, and see if the oil is still the same or if it's still contaminants from the previous failure. But it's got a new engine in it that's been stripped apart and cleaned and put back together. All the oil lines and oil cooler was taken out and flushed with petrol, so it should in theory be okay. But yeah, let's get it down the floor, let's get some oil in it. Right, let's get it started up. Not a very good start. I think I'll have to give it some throttle, you know. Let that warm up, we'll let the oil do its thing, and then we'll check the level. Right, it's getting up the temperature now, getting to about 60 degrees oil temperature. The coolant is getting there as well. Got 3.5 bar oil on idle at the minute. Really good responsive gauge this is, not like the old one. Yeah, so it goes to about 4.5 bar and that's about it. Again, I don't really want to be idling it without going or revving it too high at the minute. But we'll give it a road test anyway, and then we'll see how these gauges perform on a road test. But yeah, that's the other issue I've got, which I've always had with this new ECU. You rev it between 2 and 3000 RPM and hold the revs, and that detects a misfire. But I think it's just the engine mounts that I've got are the race series Vibrotechnic ones, so it's just harmonic, or the harmonics of the vibrations is causing a misfire detect, although it's not misfired at all. But yeah, anyway, let's get this buttoned up, check the oil level, put the cap back on, and then we'll move on to the next job, which will be putting this back together. So I'll come back to you once I've done all that. Right, so I've got the dash back in, and also I've got the GoPros all mounted in and wired up. As you can see, the red lights are on both of them. So I've got a GoPro Hero 8, which is that one there, and a GoPro 4 Session there. So I should be able to get some front mount views and some rear mount views. So not there's going to be a lot of people behind me, but you know, for them people lapping me, you'll be able to see them come up behind. And I've just got a hardwire kit, cable tied to the roll cage, and then along that wiring, and then you've got two little converter boxes to convert it from 12 volt to 5 volt, and then I've got a picked up on the earth just underneath there. I've ran a wire all the way across the dash rail and then into the fuse box here. I've picked up on that's that right hand fuse that I've used, which I think is the radio and courtesy lights, I think. And then the one on the left, with the purple fuse there, that's for the lap timer, and that come out of the cigarette lighter. So that's all in. In hindsight, I should have ran the wiring this way and then down this side, but I ran it that way to tie it to the original loom, which then meant that I had to run a wire from there over to the fuse box, because I thought I had an ignition source over there, but I don't, so I had to run a wire all the way across. So that is it. In other news, the oil that I took out is very milky. I've just put some in this clear container here just to see how much settles to the bottom, because that was in a white container yesterday. I tilted the container just to see what was at the bottom. You can see specks of water. So yeah, I don't know where that is coming from. I'm going to assume head gasket. But what I've done is I've given it an oil change, and there's still a little bit of the old oil in the oil cooler and in the lines. But I've given it an oil change, and I've tightened down the head bolts a further 90 degrees. So hopefully that'll squish that gasket a little bit more, and hopefully that will see us through Silverstone. That's the plan anyway. And another thing that I've noticed is that round this exhaust tip here, there's lots of residue, like white residue, but it almost looks pinky white. So I think that's a surefire conclusion that we are leaking coolant into the oil and the combustion chamber. But it don't overheat. I'm not willing to put take a head off now, because it's now the weekend before the race and I need to be on the road on Friday. So the last couple of little jobs is going to be, we're going to stick it on the ramp, we're going to do a bolt check, and we're going to do an alignment, and then we'll give it a little bit of a wash, being that it's the Silverstone MG Live, so we want it to look half decent, I guess. And yeah, and that's going to be it basically. So next jobs, bolt check, alignment, wash, stick on the trailer. So yeah, and another thing I've got in the trailer, obviously I sleep in that over the weekends that I'm away on a fishing bed. And last time I was at Alton, I was bloody cold at night, so I've bought one of them diesel parking heat things. So I'm going to wire that into the trailer, and also I've ordered some LED lights to go inside the trailer as well. So yeah, I might do a video of that. I'm not 100% sure, but I might just get it done, because as I say, I've only got a week to sort it out, so I might just get on and do it, to be honest with you. But yeah, right, let's get on to the next jobs. Let's get it back on the ramp and tighten up all the bolts and do an alignment. Right, we're on the ramp now, so just doing a bolt check. I've already done the bolt check, I should say. I've taken the wheels off because I want to bleed the brakes as well. Now I did have some modified nipples to go onto these, which is you screw like a blank into the caliper, and then you got a nipple into that blank. So it says, because these are steel and these are alley calipers, sometimes these can snap off in the calipers. So you leave the blank in there, which is a steel blank, and then you've got a steel nipple to go into that steel blank. So you've got no fear of the nipple snapping off in the caliper. Now, I'm not going to say that the blank won't snap off in the caliper, but you don't want the nipple snapping off in the caliper if you need to bleed the brakes while you're at a track, while you're halfway through, well, not halfway through a race, but in between races, should we say. But anyway, I've done all my bolt checks, all looking good. There was a couple of loose bolts, which I'll explain in a minute. I've wound the driver's side, front and rear coilover up 2 threads, just to try and counteract my weight a little bit. Coming towards the rear, again, wound that coilover up. Now the bolts that are loose were this one here, and there's another one, if I can get you in there, this one here, which were just finger tight, basically. And I know full well that I torqued them up to spec. And all the top ball joint nuts, you could give them a good half a turn as well. So yeah, I've just nipped all them up. I haven't torqued these up, I've gone hand tight, so they should be over torque spec, shall we say, to try and stop them from backing off. But after qualifying, I will then recheck them just to make sure they are still tight. Again, on this side, all exactly the same. Them 2 bolts for this control arm, again, were loose, so tighten them up. Didn't adjust the passenger side coilovers, so that's still at their lowest setting at the minute. Yeah, again, I just wanted to counteract some of my weight on the driver's side, really. I haven't got any corner scales, so you sort of have to do it by height, if you know what I mean. It's not going to be too accurate, but it's going to be a lot better than the driver's side sitting on its arse, and the passenger side not. So that's my method in my madness, anyway. Yeah, so I did buy some bleed nipples. I can't find them. I'm going to suggest that I left them at home, so we're going to have to do that tomorrow now. I'm just going to take it up in the air just to make sure everything's all good. I'm sure it is, because I've been up in the air to it before. Let's take it up anyway. Not going to go too high because I've got the bonnet open. But I'm just going to have a little look around underneath here, just to make sure there's no leaks. I obviously checked all this when that was on the ramp earlier, when I done the oil change. But we'll have another look and see what's what. So yeah, I'll get on and do that off camera. Report if I see anything untoward. And then I've just topped up a little bit more oil because that was on just below the maximum. So I like to go just over the maximum, just because that if you're sloshing side to side, although I've got a baffled sump, having a little bit more oil in there will help oil starvation as well. So right, let me check underneath, and then we'll, I guess, have to wait till tomorrow, put the bleed nipples in, bleed the brakes, re-bleed the clutch, just to get any burnt fluid out. There shouldn't be too much, but the line do run quite close to the exhaust. So we just try and take out a couple of pumps, shall we say, just to make sure there's no air or moisture in there in the line. And then once we've done that, then we can road test it, settle the suspension back down, and then we can do our alignment. Right, so I've bled the brakes. Our wifey popped in, so perfect hand to bleed the brakes. I can't find my bleed nipple kit for the front, so I've just bled them, and hopefully I've left it at home and we'll replace it for next time. But as I say, they're nice and free at the minute, so, and they're greased when I put them back in, so hopefully it won't cause me no problems. It's just a future preventative. Much more around this side, not really much to see. I have started to clean the tyres up. So that is off one tyre. It's taken me about 45 minutes to do one tyre, and it's not perfect. But that's what it looked like cleaned, and that's what it did look like. But the inside edge of this tyre was like this. So yeah, this one isn't too bad. It's mainly just in the middle. But I had quite a lot of rubber on that one. So all I'm using is a heat gun with a paint scraper attachment and just scrape it off basically. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on, do the other three, and yeah, then we can get it on the floor, and we'll just razz it around the block, just settle suspension, but we'll get it back in and then we'll do the alignment. Now, I don't know what benefits there are from cleaning tyres. Let's just have a look at these rear ones. These rear ones aren't too bad. There's quite a lot of pickup on the inside edge again, but the middle isn't too bad. So yeah, but we'll carry on. We'll clean them all up, just so best possible start. Weather forecast keeps changing to sunny to showers. Although I've got wet tyres, these are good for like damp tracks. I'll only put the wets on if it's absolutely torrential rain, but these are meant to be quite good in the wet anyway. But if there's obviously tyre pickup in the grooves, then they ain't going to work too well. So yeah, I don't know if other people clean their tyres. I know one or two people do, but I don't know what benefits that's got, and I don't know once you start going around the track whether the pickup will start coming off or not. But it seems quite stuck on there. If I go to the front tyre, yes, stuck on there quite well. I mean, some of this edge stuff you can you can peel off, but if that don't come off, then there's obviously a big lump in the middle of the tread. So whether that'll start coming off when the tyre gets warm or not, I don't know. So yeah, anyway, we'll crack on, and we will come back to you when we've got the alignment gear on and we start the alignment. Right, we've got all the string alignment stuff on the car. That's all set up. It's got the square box, which is what you're looking for. So I don't know if you know anything about string alignments, but I'll quickly go through it. There's lots of articles online about this, but basically you're setting up a square box around the car, equal distance from the center of the wheels. So the bars that I've got, this is a BG Racing string alignment kit, and basically it comes with these bars with these grooves in it. So the string goes on that most inner groove, and the same at the front, and along this side here as well you've got the same. So if you've got it all in the same grooves, then you should have a square, and it's literally just a case of going around with a ruler and basically just measuring side to side, and you're looking for the same measurement on each side basically. So same measurement on that one, same measurement on that one. Doesn't matter if it's the same on the front as the back, as long as it's even across the axle. So say you should have that 40mm there, that should be 40mm over there as well. So yeah, I've got my box all set up, I've taken all the measurements, I've taken all my camber measurements as well with the camber gauge. So yeah, it's just a case of setting it up now. So this is my measurements. So each vehicle is going to vary on the center thing, so you know, do your vehicle, not take the measurements off this because that would be completely wrong, or dependent on what wheels you're running, offset, things if you run spacers, etc, etc, etc. They all come with their, you know, all different. Just do your vehicle basically is what I'm trying to say. So we'll start off with the camber, so 2.8, 2.9. Probably won't adjust anything on the front camber because it is a bit difficult, and I did set it up last time, and that was 3 degrees at the front. So yeah, we've taken the car down the road and brought it back in, so that should all be nice and settled now, but we won't adjust anything on these cambers. So we got 47, 47, so that's basically going in a straight line. and then we've got 49, 47. So that is basically towing in 2 degrees, or 2 mil, sorry. Have I got that right? 47, 49, no, that's towing out 2 mil. Yeah. And then the rear, 2.6, 2.7. Again, I set these to about 3 degrees last time. So we'll have some adjustment on there, and you can see how far out this is massively towing in. This one not so bad. So yeah, we'll adjust these. This one is perfect. I want 1 mil toe in at the back and 1 mil toe out at the front. So this one's perfect. So we've just got some adjustment to do on this one, but as we adjust the camber on here, that is going to mess this toe adjustment out. So you're going to have to play around with each setting basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to just toe that out a little bit. So that should be 40, 46, and that should be 48. I don't know. You put me on the spot now, look. And then we'll just adjust this one again, because that's like 1 mil over what I want. So we'll do the front first, because that's nice and easy, and then we'll get on and do the back. And what we'll have to do is, I think we'll have to over adjust the camber, and then when we bring the toe in, that will then bring that camber down. I think is what happened last time. So we're going to get on and do it. It shouldn't take too long. Now, I haven't got any fancy turn plates or anything like that, but one tip I did find online is to use bin liners, because the bin liners they slide within each other, so it's almost like a homemade skid plate basically. Yeah, so I've got bin liners underneath all 4 wheels, so that should make things a little bit easier. Right, let's get it done, and then we'll end this video off. Right, that's all done now. So we made the adjustments, nice and easy. At the back here we've got 2 basically threaded inserts that you screw in or screw out, and the front obviously is just a normal track rod end. The back did take a little bit longer to get right, but we got our 3 degrees camber, and then we've got 42, 43, which are 1 mil toe in, and 43, 44, 1 mil toe in again. I don't know why these numbers are different to each other, because these numbers are the same. So whether I've got one of the wheels has been refurbished and they ground the lip down a little bit to get rid of some curb rash, it could be one of the reasons. But you know, you just do, we know that the centre of the wheel is the same, which is fine, and you just need to make sure that these numbers on that wheel is the same, so don't really worry about too much side to side in the sense. And then we had to do 0.5 in the front here to get the levels right, to give me my 1 mil toe out basically. So that is all done. Yeah, I'm going to end this video here. The only thing I need to do now is get outside, give it a wash, and then we'll stick on the trailer. I've got some stuff to do on the trailer, so i.e. heater, because it's meant to get quite chilly at night this weekend. So I've got a heater to put in and also some LED lighting, so that should take me like a morning or an afternoon to do. So I'm ready, and it's not the Friday afternoon either. So we're at the beginning of the week, so I'm happy that we've got this far and we are ready. Or as ready as we can be anyway. Anyway, I'll leave this video here. If you stuck around to the end, thank you. We're at MG Live at Silverstone this weekend, so if you want to come and say hello, by all means. I think it's all open paddock, so you can walk around. Just come and find the car, come and say hello, and yeah, we will probably see you in the next video, which will be race day. Now it all depends on how well my GoPros behave, to whether I do 2 separate videos like a Saturday and a Sunday, or whether I just cram it all in one video. So it all depends on how much footage I got from the GoPros to whether I do that or not. So we'll see you in the next video, and again, if you're at Silverstone at the weekend, then come and say hello. But for now, see you later.